the Must-See Film Club.
What if I told you one of Germany's most cherished, unmissable Christmas television traditions is a British TV movie from 1980 starring Alec Guinness?
That feels improbable. We're not talking about a global classic like It's a Wonderful Life, which we've covered. We're talking about a specific adaptation of Little Lord Fauntleroy that has become a cultural institution in one country, and pretty much only one country.
Precisely. Every year since 1982, German public television airs this specific film, and millions of people stop what they're doing to watch. It's not Christmas in Germany for many without Der kleine Lord. But in the UK, where it was made, or the US, where it first aired, it's barely a footnote.
This is a fantastic story of accidental cultural adoption. It wasn't marketed as a German holiday classic. It just became one. It's the ultimate long tale, a piece of media finding its perfect audience in the most unexpected way imaginable.
To understand how this happened, we have to go back way before 1980, to the source material itself. The film is based on Frances Hodgson Burnett's novel from 1886.
And this book was a phenomenon in its own right. It created a fashion trend. The Fauntleroy suit, the velvet suit with the lace collar, became the way upper-class mothers dressed their sons for a generation. It was the physical embodiment of the book's themes.
Totally. The story is a classic rags-to-riches tale, but it's really about a collision of cultures and classes. You have this young American boy, Cedric, who is optimistic, kind, and egalitarian. He's raised in New York, and he doesn't understand social hierarchy.
And then he's plucked from that world and dropped into the rigid British aristocracy to live with his grandfather, a cold, grumpy earl. The central premise is that the child's inherent goodness and American democratic spirit can melt the heart of the old, tradition-bound English aristocrat.
Exactly. Burnett is playing with these big themes: innocence versus cynicism, new world versus old world, and the idea that true nobility isn't about bloodlines, but about character. Cedric treats everyone, from the earl to the servants, with the same genuine respect, which completely upends the system.
It's a powerful and sentimental formula, and that formula is the bedrock of the 1980 film. It's a very faithful adaptation, which keeps that core emotional engine intact.
So let's talk about that 1980 film, because its production history gives zero indication that it would become a German icon. It's a British production, shot in England, directed by Jack Gold.
Wait, this is the wildest part. It was produced by Norman Rosemont Productions for the American network CBS. It was a made-for-TV movie intended for a U.S. audience. Its world premiere was on CBS on November 25, 1980.
And the funding. Most of its $6 million budget came from International Telephone and Telegraph, ITT. An American telecommunications conglomerate funded this quintessentially British period piece. There is no German co-production money here, no German creative input. It's a purely Anglo-American affair.
It's incredible. So it airs in the US, gets a theatrical release in the UK in December 1980, and then that's largely it. It's a well-made, respectable TV movie with a great cast, including Alec Guinness as the Earl, but it doesn't set the world on fire.
Right. It's not like Die Hard, which became this huge blockbuster and then later an unconventional Christmas movie. This film just sort of existed. It fulfilled its contract for CBS and then was destined for the archives.
Think about the media landscape at the time. No streaming, limited home video. A TV movie had one, maybe two shots to make an impression during its broadcast run. After that, it was effectively gone. But not in Germany.
This is where the story pivots. On December 26, 1982, 2 years after its U.S. premiere, a German-dubbed version of the film airs on Das Erste, West Germany's main public broadcasting channel.
And something about it just clicks. It becomes an instant hit, so much so that they decide to air it again the next Christmas, and the next. For over 40 years, it has been broadcast almost annually, typically on the last Friday before Christmas.
The viewership numbers are staggering for a 4-decade-old TV movie. It consistently draws between 5 and 7 million viewers. The German newspaper Die Welt even coined a term for the phenomenon, Fauntleroy fever. Fauntleroy fever.
It became what's known as a Quotenkönig, a ratings king. During the pandemic winter of 2020, viewership even surged past 7 million. It's not just a movie, it's a national ritual. You see people on forums like Letterboxd describing their family tradition. Every year on the last Friday night before Christmas at my grandmother's house, we collectively watch Little Lord Fauntleroy on national television.
This reminds me so much of our episode on It's a Wonderful Life, where a copyright lapse led to constant television airings, which in turn built its classic status. Here, it wasn't a mistake, but a conscious programming choice by a public broadcaster that created the tradition. They became the sole gatekeeper of this experience for decades.
That's a fantastic point. For years, you couldn't just buy it. The German Wikipedia page notes it wasn't available on DVD or Blu-ray until a restored edition came out in 2016. For over 30 years, the only way for Germans to see this film was to tune in at the appointed time. That scarcity and sense of a shared live event cemented it as a tradition.
Which brings us to the central question, why Germany? What was it about this specific film that resonated so deeply there and almost nowhere else?
There are a few layers to this. The surface-level explanation is simply that it's a perfect holiday movie. It's a heartwarming, visually lush story about family, redemption, and forgiveness. It's emotionally direct and lands perfectly during a season focused on those themes.
That's the baseline. But it doesn't explain why it didn't become a classic in the UK or US. A second theory points to that cultural contrast we talked about from the novel, the clash between the optimistic, straightforward American kid and the stiff, hierarchical British Earl.
Right. For a German audience, that dynamic might be viewed from a more neutral, outside perspective. It's a charming fable about two English-speaking cultures, and you can just enjoy the story of kindness triumphing over tradition without any national baggage attached.
Then there's a more speculative but really fascinating third theory. Some have suggested its popularity is tied to the German experience of reunification. The film's broadcast tradition started in West Germany in 1982, but it flourished in the years around and after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989.
And the story is fundamentally about a divided family finding unity. A grandson, separated from his grandfather by an ocean and by bitterness, bridges that gap and brings the family back together. It's not a direct allegory, of course, but you can see how that theme of reconciliation and a family made whole again could have resonated deeply on a subconscious cultural level during that specific moment in German history.
Regardless of the reason, its status today is undeniable. It stands alongside other German holiday television staples like Dinner for One, another British production that found a unique home in Germany. It's a case study in how a piece of content can find a second life that completely eclipses its original context.
It really is. The production company, Norman Rosemont, and the broadcaster, CBS, likely wrote this off their books in the early 80s. They would have had no idea that their TV movie was laying the groundwork for a cultural tradition that would last for half a century and counting in a country it was never intended for.
And what's so compelling is that this tradition was built through the old model of broadcast television, appointment viewing. In an era of on-demand streaming where we can watch anything, anytime, there's something powerful about a cultural moment that still happens when millions of people tune into the same channel at the same time to watch the same story.
It proves that a tradition isn't just about the content itself, but the ritual around it. The film is the catalyst, but the tradition is the collective act of watching it together year after year. Der kleine Lord isn't just a movie anymore. It's part of the German Christmas operating system.